A gisant is a recumbent effigy on a tomb depicting a prominent deceased person in the process of dying or as a corpse. Such compositions, developed in Western Europe in late medieval, Renaissance, and early modern times, may represent the deceased in a state of eternal repose, hands folded in prayer and awaiting resurrection. A husband and wife may be depicted together. An important official or leader may be shown holding his attributes of office addressed in the formal attire of his official status or social class. Some of the best-known examples of the form are in Westminster Abbey in London, St. Peter's in Rome, Santi Giovanni e Paolo, Venice, and the Basilica of Santa Croce, Florence. History. Ancient precursors recumbent effigies were a common tradition in Etruscan funerary art. Examples are known in both ceramic and stone. The deceased was typically depicted alive as at a feast, lying sideways propped up on one arm and sometimes holding a cup. Usually these were rather smaller than life-size. The Romans continued this tradition, though they also created many other types of funerary effigy. The faces are often clearly portraits of individuals. Medieval. The first medieval gisants emerged in the 12th century. They were executed in low relief, and were horizontal, but appeared as in life. The faces were generalized rather than portraits. Gradually these became full high-relief effigies, usually recumbent, as in death, and, by the 14th century, with hands together in prayer. In general, such monumental effigies were carved in stone, marble or wood, or cast in bronze or brass. Often the stone effigies were painted to simulate life, but in the majority of the medieval monuments, this has long since disappeared. The cross-legged attitude of numerous male-clad knight-like gisants was long supposed to imply that the deceased had served in the Crusades, but this supposition is unfounded. By the early 13th century, the gisants began to be raised on tomb-style chests decorated with foliage, heraldry, or architectural detailing. Soon such chests also stood alone with varying degrees of decoration. By the end of the century, these often had architectural canopies and figured weepers or mourners representing friends or relatives and identified by the coats of arms were popular decorative features. Another late medieval fashion was to show the person in an advanced state of decomposition, perhaps as a secondary effigy. This type of tomb is known as a transi. Later during the Renaissance, other non-recumbent types of effigy became more popular. Variations showed the deceased lying on the side as if reading, kneeling in prayer, and even standing. The gisant had something of a vogue during the Gothic revival period of the 19th century. Many graves at Monument Cemetery in Milan have gisant figures. Variants. A particular type of gisant was the transi, or cadaver tomb, in which the effigy is in the macabre form of a decomposing corpse.